study of the first canto creation between Narada and Vyasadeva, and text number 23. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimiram Tasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutair Mahadbhir Yayima Puro Vibhu Nirma Yashete Yadamushu Purusha Bhunte Gunan Shodashashot Dachatmaka Solam Krisishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Katha Amritam Satatapibatam Bhakti Vedanta Margapanthanam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishideva Janna Prasannam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are at a juncture where we see Narada Muni in his previous life when he's a 5-year-old boy, and he learns the art of devotional service from the Bhakti Vedantists, and he wanted to go with them. However, Narada Muni was told by the Bhakti Vedantist that you are the only son of your mother, therefore it is only right that you stay with your mother and you be each other's support. But Narada Muni internally was detached, and he was very much inclined to do exclusive devotional service to Krishna. But nonetheless, following the instructions of the Bhakti Vedantis, Narada Muni stayed back with her mother. But as Providence would have it, that Krishna arranged everything to fulfill the ardent desire in Narada Muni's heart to do devotional service to Krishna. And as Providence had it, his mother was beaten by a snake when she went out to milk the cow, and she died. Narad Muni, without feeling sorry or depressed, immediately considered this as causeless mercy of the Lord. Now, how many of us would consider such if something like that happened to us? But Narad Muni had innate, ardent desire to exclusively serve the Lord, as he had heard from the Bhaktivedantis, and he became realized in their association. So association of sadhus is very important, because the association of sadhus, it makes us attached to them. Why? Because we see that the sadhus are very happy, and they are happy because their happiness is not related to the bodily happiness, so-called, that we know. Because body in itself is miserable. Body has various disadvantages. It is born, it grows, it comes into adulthood, it becomes old, it decays, and then it dies. And along with the body, there are threefold miseries. The miseries that other living entities give us, the miseries from material nature itself, and the most serious one is the misery that our own mind gives us. So, when we see such a personality as Sadhu, that he is above and beyond the bodily platform, then immediately this question comes in mind: what is it that this person has that makes him so happy, sustainably and always, regardless of their bodily situation, and why I am not able to experience that happiness? I remember first time I met my spiritual master, this is the question I had, that he's so happy and I'd like to be like him. So Narad Muni, that's why he became attached to the sadhus. Usually it is said attachment to any person is not good. In Bhāgavatam, it is very nicely mentioned by Lord Kapila that prasangam majaram pasham atmana kavayo viduhu, that in this world the attachment to other living beings causes miseries. Prasangam ajaram pasham, it is like a bondage. Our happiness depends on them, but they themselves gives us misery and at times they themselves are not happy, and we become engaged in such toxic relationships. However, sa eva sadhu sukrito, Bhagavatam says, if the same attachment we have for a sadhu or a devotee of the Lord, then what happens? Moksha dwaram apavritaha, the doors of liberation open for us. And that's what happened in the instance of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni traveled to north side and he entered the forest, and in the forest, after having bathed in the water and relieving himself from the fatigue and tiredness, he sat down to meditate on the Supreme Lord as he has learned from the Bhaktivedantis. And very quickly, Krishna, being kind to him, gave him audience in the heart and manifested his transcendental form. And Narad Muni, seeing the form of the Lord, at once became situated in the love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavatam, very nicely, the symptoms of Narad Muni are mentioned here. It is said that he was experiencing prema ati bhara, excessive love, and then nirbhinna, especially distinguished pulaka, feelings of happiness. Angaha, so this is text number 17. Angaha, different bodily parts, ati nivrittaha, being fully overwhelmed. Ananda, ecstasy, samplave, in the ocean of linaha, absorbed. So Narad Muni became fully absorbed in the Supreme Lord. he experienced prema adipara, excessive love. And his pulaka also means the hairs on the end of the body. When one is very happy, the hairs and the end of the body stand up. And angaha, different bodily parts, ati nivrittaha, being fully overwhelmed with ananda, ecstasy. So Narada Muni had attained that stage already. And further on in text 18 it is said, the transcendental form of the Lord as it is satisfies the mind's desires and at once erases all material incongruities. So, we have mentioned before, Rukmani Devi says, Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilartalabham. One who has seen the form of the Lord, the transcendental form of the Lord, Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilartalabham. He has gained everything in the world. The form of the Lord fulfills all the desires of the hearts and mind. Now, we may question, how does that happen? We may never know, we may theorize it, but actually when we ourselves experience that, then we can understand what does that mean. To gain everything in the world, in the universe, simply by having the darshan or the audience of the Lord. However, upon losing that form, I suddenly got up. So Narada Muni could no longer see the form of the Lord because the Lord had unmanifested himself again. Being perturbed, as is usual when one loses which is desirable. So Narada Muni lost the vision of the Lord. Then in text 19 he goes on to say, I desired to see again that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore, and thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. Narada Muni continues, seeing my attempt in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all mundane descriptions, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words just to mitigate my grief. So this is the mercy of the Lord, that He will not put us in difficult situation and He will give us hope. Although He spoke with gravity, Gambhira, however, His words were pleasing. What did the Lord say? Hantasmi janmani bhavan mam drashtum iharati avipakva kashayanam durdasho kuyoginam. O Narada, the Lord spoke, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material things can hardly see me. So again, a very discouraging statement by the Lord, because Narada Muni had given up everything. And here the Lord addresses him as avipakva, immature in devotional service, kashayanam, afflicted with material dirt, and kuyoginam, incomplete in service. So when some of our superiors, we have put 120% in effort and they criticize us and tell us, you did this wrong. How do we feel and how would we take it? I remember my niece, my cousin, she's in Sydney, and she gets always good grades. And once she got good grades, and I was there, and she told her father, and the father looked at the marks and said, how come you did not get this much more? And then she said, you never are happy. You're never happy with whatever, So here we can see it's like similarly, Narada Muni also, has that feeling like, Narada Muni doesn't have that feeling, but the Lord is saying, kuyoginam, incomplete in service, avipakva, you're immature in devotional service, and kashayanam, material debt is there. However, in the very next verse, we see that he addresses Narada Muni as anagha. What does anagha mean? Without sin. Prabhupada translates here as the virtuous one. So he says, O virtuous one, anagha, you have only once seen my person. This is just to increase your desire for me. Because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. So this point we have to understand that this is the mercy of the Lord. So parents may push the children and say this is not good enough. But why do they do that? It is because they want to set higher benchmarks so that they can achieve higher things and more things. So after chastising Narada Muni in such a way, the Lord is then putting a soothing balm and saying, you are virtuous. Although previously he said, material debt is there still in you, kashaya now, you are immature and you are incomplete. But here he says, anagha, sakrit yad darshitam rupam, I have showed you my forms once, etat kama yate anagha, so that you may desire more. Te anagha, O sinless, O virtuous one. Mat kama shanaika sadhu sarvan munchanti vikshayan. So we understand that Narada Muni already had attained the stage of prema bhakti. However, even within that stage, there is degrees of maturity, and his level is described as a level of infant love. But Krishna wants mature love, and therefore he bestows causeless mercy upon us by inspiring us and then making us strive harder and more. Why? Because ultimately it is beneficial for us only. Because the more we do devotional service and the more we undertake the process of absorbing ourselves in Krishna, the more we will be happy. So, the Mayavadis say, Brahma to Saukhyam Anantam. The Brahma Saukhya is Anantam, unlimited. The devotees say Anandam Bodhivardhanam Pratipadam, that the more we chant the names of the Krishna, we experience the ocean of bliss, and this ocean is Vardhanam, means ever increasing. There's no satiation. So this is a good thing, because anything material we will achieve and that's it. We cannot increase. The more we try to increase, the more we'll be in problem. I always give this example. If someone likes gulab jamun, eats gulab jamun once, they will get happiness. They eat second gulab jamun, they will get happiness, but the happiness will be less than the first one. They eat the third one, again the happiness will be there, maybe there, depending on the tolerance level, but the happiness will be less than the second and the first one. But the tolerance level is fourth gulab jamun, they have fourth one, nothing. You may think, why did I have it? And then still, the tongue likes the taste, and you still have the fifth one, but the body is not able to accept, then that is not only diminishing, that is now going beyond, that is going negative. And that psychologists say is the point of depression, that we try to extract juice out of our material relations, our material possessions, our material achievements, but the pinnacle has already been reached and you can't go beyond that. But spiritual is different. There is no diminishing, there is always increasing happiness, bliss, and this is called Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Ambudhi means ocean, and Vardhanam means ever increasing. So in the first verse of Shishtakshakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this. Please repeat. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvarpanam. So this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is like cleansing of the dirty mirror of the heart. Cheto darpana marjanam. And bhava mahadavagni nirvarpanam. This material world is described as a great forest fire in which we are constantly burning. Davagni. And the only way that forest fire can be extinguished when there is a rain of mercy of the Supreme Lord. Only rain can extinguish fire. So chanting of the holy names is like those torrents of rains that destroy the fire which is burning us in this material world. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So this process is Shreya. Shreya means it is ultimately beneficial. It's not short-term benefit. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Vidyavadhu Jivanam. So it is like a cooling, soothing moon before we are burning. And when the cooling, soothing moon is there, then it brings calmness and coolness in our life. And this is the life of a chaste bride, young bride, Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. So, previously as I had mentioned that I was wondering, what does this mean? Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, the young bride. Basically it means the Vidya, the knowledge, and Vadhu denotes chastity. So the wife is chaste to the husband and everything nice follows. So similarly, this knowledge of Krishna consciousness has been given to us by Krishna himself and Srila Prabhupada. And if we are chaste to this knowledge, means we follow this knowledge, the instructions, that Krishna is to be exclusively worshipped, Krishna has to be repeatedly, consistently, and regularly glorified, Krishna has to be always thought about, Krishna has to be always served, then this life is like of a young bride. Our chastity to this Vidya is there. And then what happens? Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam. So bliss, Ananda, which is ocean of bliss, Ambodhi means ocean. It's always Vardhanam, ever increasing. So unlike material thing, the spiritual bliss is ever increasing. Pratipadam, at every step. Purnamrita swadanam. It gives Purna, complete Amrita nectar. Swadanam, taste. Sarvatmasnaspanam. param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the daily bathing of the soul, Sarvatmanasmanam. And we bathe in the showering nectar of the holy names of Krishna. And in this way, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, makes us victorious. It itself is victorious. Therefore it says, all glories to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So this is ever increasing. So why settle for less? I was listening to a class by His Holiness Keshav, Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj, and he was saying that first time he went to India as a brahmachari, then anyone who goes to India, especially from foreign countries, they get devotional clothing and stuff. So Loi Bazaar is a stopover. So he said, I went to Loi Bazaar, and there I wanted to buy chadar, but not only for myself, but for my 20 other brahmachari friends as well. So I got 20 chadars, and I asked the shopkeeper, what's the price? And he gave price, this many rupees. And immediately he said, I calculated and converted it into pounds. And I said, oh, this is a good deal. And he was just going to get it, but the local devotee with him said, hey, hang on, don't rush so much, And he said, no, don't accept this price. And then the battle starts of bargaining. Especially bargaining in India is, it's a whole lot of a game. And he said, no, it's too expensive. I'm a brahmachari, I don't have money, you should give it for free. The shopkeeper will go, no, there is not much I'm making on it. For you I'm giving a cost price. And he says, no, can't afford it. Then the friend said, let's walk out of the shop. And then they walk out. Then the shopkeeper calls back, no, okay, come back. I'll do a special price. So that which was charging, for example, $1,000, you can get it for 1,000 rupees, you can get it for 250 rupees. And so he said. So what does that mean? I very like how he said that this means that we have to be patient, not just rush in and accept things that come. So in devotional service also, we have to be patient. When the demigods and the devatas, they were churning the milk ocean, then many things were coming out. It is said the various jewels came out, waters of fortune came out, the moon came out, also the poison came out. So bad things that were coming out, no one wanted. Good things, everyone was rushing after. But the demigods, they were patient. Why? Because they were after Amrita, the nectar, the main thing. So similarly, even in path of devotional service, Krishna will test us. And he will give us so many other things as well that may come. But do we just take that and run with it? If we run with it, then the main thing which is waiting there for us, we miss out on. Therefore, it's very important to know what is that we want. The devotee is only interested in unalloyed and continuous uninterrupted devotional service. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vam vishame jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavata bhaktir ahaituki tvai. He says, I don't want a good birth. Na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim. Nor do I want wealth, abundant wealth, nor beautiful woman. O Jagadisha, this is my kamaya. This is what I desire. So, we may not desire bhakti, but at least we should know that bhakti is a good thing. This is what we should desire. At the moment, we may have desire of woman, wealth, power, or for woman, good husband, and so on and so on. But at least intellectually, we should understand, just reading the scriptures, that these things are impediment to experience real happiness. Because our real relationship is with Krishna. So, real relationship being with Krishna, we can only experience real happiness when we devote ourselves to Krishna. Therefore, having this goal in mind is very important. And for a sincere devotee, Krishna will push him, as he is pushing Narada Muni here. Narada Muni already had attained that, but Krishna wanted further intensity of emotions and devotion and further saturation. The more you boil the milk, the sweeter and richer and tastier it becomes. So that's what Krishna is doing here. He's boiling Narada Muni's consciousness so that he may become more advanced. So we should go beyond our limits. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, jap kar, itna kar ke hat kar, ke Yamaraj bhi apne khate se tera naam rat kar de. Like something like that. That we should go beyond, the requirement. And then that's the glory of the devotee, that he wants to do more and more and more. So text number 23. Please repeat after me. Satsevaya dirghayapi Satsevaya dirghayapi Jata mai dhridamatihi Hitva vadyam imam lokam Gantamajjanatamasi Satsevaya dirghayapi Jata mai dhridamatihi Hitva vadyam imam lokam Gantamajjanatamasi. Word to word. Satsevaya. By service of the Absolute Truth. Adirghaya. For some days. Api. Even. Jata. Having attained. Mai. Unto me. Dhrida. Fame. Matihi. Intelligence. Hitva. Having given up. Avadyam. Deplorable. Imam. This. Lokam. Material worlds. Ganta. Going to. Mad Janatam. My associates. Asi. Become. Translation by His loving divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Ki. Please repeat. By service of the Absolute Truth, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present deplorable material worlds. Please hear. Serving the absolute truth means rendering service unto the absolute personality of Godhead under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master who is a transparent medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. The neophyte devotee has no ability to approach the absolute personality of Godhead by the strength of his present imperfect material senses. And therefore, under the direction of the spiritual master, he is trained in transcendental service of the Lord. And by such training, even for some days, the neophyte devotee gets intelligence in such transcendental service, which leads him ultimately to get freed from the perpetual inhabitation in the material worlds and to be promoted to the transcendental world to become one of the liberated associates of the Lord in the kingdom of God. So this is the destination the Lord wants all of us to have, to go back home, back to Godhead. And in the Bhāgavatam, we see that when Kumar, after going through many places, when he enters Golok Vrindavan, then at first he sees that all the trees, the branches are down, the windows of all the houses are closed. But then when he hears Krishna's flute, then automatically all the branches of the trees, they go up. The windows and the doors of the house, they open, and all the Vrindavan Brajavasis, they come out. And from far he sees Krishna along with Balram and all the cowhead boys, calves and the cows. They come from the forest. And as soon as Krishna sees Gopkumar, Krishna runs towards Gopkumar. And Gopkumar also runs towards Krishna. And they both cry of love and joy. And they embrace each other. And they both are crying. And then Krishna says to Gopkumar, where were you for such a long time? I was waiting for you. So Krishna is waiting for us and is making all these arrangements for us so that we can actually make our life perfect in this world and go back to Him. Any reverses which come in our lives, it is an impetus, mercy of Krishna. He is showing us that this is not actually a place for us. Any reverses that come, He is showing that. If we try to make this as a permanent place for happiness, then sooner or later we will be disappointed. Because due to the time factor, even though everything may be okay, the time factor will take everything away. However, Krishna here very nicely mentions that after giving up the current body, the proper material world, he becomes my associate. And the next verse is very nice. Please repeat. Matirmayi nimadhyayam na vipadyeta karhichit praja sarga nirodhepi smritischa mat anugrahat. Translation. Please repeat. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time. This is an important point to understand. That if with intelligence we try to understand the instructions of Krishna, then that will not be thwarted. What does thwarted mean?
Separated or taken away.
Taken away, separated, or diminished at any time. So we will lose everything. Our Guru Maharaj used to say this verse that the wealth will be, remain in the ground. In olden days, they used to hide the wealth in the ground, dig a hole and put the wealth there so that no one steals it, no one knows. But if you don't tell anyone, you are gone, that is also gone. And then when the person dies, then the friends, relatives, they can only come up to the funeral pyre. Nari grihadwari, the wife only can come onto the doorsteps. In Vedic culture, actually the women don't go to the crematorium. It's not regarded as auspicious. A nari grihadwari, a sakha samsane, dehas chitayam, and the body can only go up to the funeral pyre. Even the body we cannot take with us. The only thing we can take with us is the bhakti that we have performed to the Lord. So this is what it means. Matir mai nibadhyayam na vipadyeta karhachit. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time. So if this is the only wealth we can take, so how much time should we be spending in absorbing ourselves in the study of the scriptures, in bhakti, and advancing in devotional service? Praja sarge nirodhapi. Living beings, praja sarga, at the time of creation, nirodhe, also at the time of annihilation. So whenever there is sarga, there is nirodha. There is creation, there is annihilation. Nitya may say, I've learned, perfected taekwondo, and you may get a gold medal. We hope you get a gold medal in your, games in South Korea, and then Olympics also you may make it. But when you take your next life, you cannot say, I'm an expert in taekwondo. You have to start that whole training here, perhaps get your nose broken a few more times. Hope not, but it may happen. But guess what? Matir mai nibadhyayam. But the devotional service, any devotional service that you do, Krishna is keeping account. He's seeing that yes, she is the only teenager who is here in the morning. And just you are listening, everyone is listening. So that at any time cannot be thwarted. We may not realize it, how this is making a difference. But over time, we will realize it, how big of a difference this little thing makes actually. 1 hour Sunday coming here, how big of a difference it will make. This is our eternal deposits into the Burbank. We can say, Praja sarge nirodhapi. Everything will be destroyed. Nirodhe api. However, smritis cha mad anugrahat. Smritis means our remembrance of Krishna will remain intact. And that is mad anugrahat. Krishna says that is due to my mercy. Please repeat. Even at the time of creation, as well as at the time of annihilation, your remembrance will continue by my mercy. Smritischa mad anugrahat. So Narada Muni therefore remembers everything. He remembers his past life, what had happened. And therefore he is telling this to Vyasadeva now. Therefore, devotional service rendered to the personality of Godhead never goes in vain. Since the personality of Godhead is eternal, intelligence and eternal. Intelligence applied in his service or anything done in his relation is also permanent. So because the Lord is eternal, anything applied to him is also permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth, and when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the personality of Godhead. Such accumulation of God's service is never vanquished, but increases till fully matured. Our superannuation balance may be eroded, but our deposits into the bank of Bhakti will never be eroded. It will always have a cumulative effect, multiple effect. So, up to this point, the Lord has spoken. So, the Lord has spoken from text number 21 to 24. So 4 verses the Lord has spoken. And he has denied Narada Muni that in this lifetime you will no longer have my audience. And how does Narada Muni react? And how should we react if something like this happens to us? We have tried so hard and still we are given a thumbs down. No. We are given words of encouragement, bit of chastisement, but words of encouragement later on, and told, do more. Do we say, okay, forget it, bye, we'll not do this. But Narada Muni, we see how he responds. Text number 25. Etavadukto pararam tanmahad bhutam nabholingam ishwaram aham cha tasmai mahatam mahiyase Srishnavananam vidadhenu kampitaha. Would anyone else like to recite this verse? Etavadukto pararama tanmahad Bhutam nabholingam ishwaram Aham cha tasmai mahatam mahiyase Srishnavanamam vidadenu kampitaha. Anyone else? Etavadukto pararam tanmahad Bhutam nabholingam ishwaram Aham cha tasmai mahatam mahiyase Srishnavanamam vidadenu kampitaha. Etavat, thus, oktva, spoke, upararamam, upararama, stopped, tat, that, mahat, great, bhutam, wonderful, nabhalingam, personified by sound, alingam, unseen by the eyes, Ishwaram, the supreme authority, aham, I, cha, also, tasmai, unto him, mahatam, the great, mahiyase, unto the glorified, Krishna, by the head, avanamam, obeisances, vidadhe, executed, anukampitaha, being favored by him. Translation by His Loving Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Please repeat. Then that supreme authority, personified by sound, and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking, feeling a sense of gratitude. I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. So this is the attitude of gratitude of Narada Muni. He doesn't say to the Lord, I tried so hard and yet you are denying me. I left everything and still you are denying me. No, he accepts it. And he actually here says, etavat uktvo. Uktvo means the speech. So when the Lord spoke, and uparamam, he stopped speaking. Then at that time, Narada Muni felt that Mahat, he is the great personality. Mahat means great. Bhutam Nabho, he is, what does Nabho Lingam mean? Personified by sound. So the sound is the personification of the Lord. Therefore sound is so important. Alingam here Prabhupada says is unseen by eyes. So the Lord at this time was unseen by eyes but personified by sound. And this is actually the science of devotional service, that through the sound vibration we can see the Lord. Brahmaji says, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hit saroja ase shrutik shitapato nanunata pumsam. We see the Lord through the channel of ears. Shruta means hearing and ishita means seeing. So seeing the Lord through the ears. Therefore it's very important to always keep listening to the chanting of the holy names and Krishna Katha. I was in Rajkot, at the beginning of the year, and there I lectured in a couple of universities, and in one of the universities I lectured on the topic, achieving high work outcomes and career success from the Srīmad Bhāgavatam point of view, Brahma's praise for creative energy. Then in the audience there was a vision impaired person, who's almost like blind. Later on he came up to me, and somewhere in the conversation I had mentioned, that through the sound vibration one can actually see the Lord. And then he said to me, this is my experience as well. Although I'm visually impaired, when I hear, I feel I can see it in front of my eyes. Nabholingam, personified by sound. This is not imagination, this is reality, because the Lord is Nabholingam. Lingam means form and Nabho means sound. The Lord is personified by sound. And in the purport, when we read here, that the personality of God was not seen but only heard, does not make any difference. Our Guru Maharaj made us memorize this verse and repeat this line again and again. Please repeat. That the personality of Godhead was not seen, but only heard, does not make any difference. So for the devotee, although he is always hankering, longing to have the audience of the Lord, and this is one of the reasons Krishna manifested himself and then disappeared, to inspire Narad Muni, so that Narad Muni can hanker more and more. We have to have a feeling of longing for the Lord when we're calling out and chanting His names, not doing as just a ritual. While chanting, the spirit of hankering for the Lord and longing for the Lord has to be there. Otherwise, chanting is just a ritual. That spirit, Narad Muni very nicely exhibits in the next verse. So Prabhupada continues the paper. The personality of God had produced the 4 Vedas by His breathing, and He is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is the sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity. The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. Please repeat. Etavaduktvo Pararam tanmahad Bhutam nabho lingam lingam ishwaram Aham chatasmai Mahatam mahiyase. So what did I do? Narad Muni says, Aham chatasmai. I thereafter, Mahatam mahiyase, onto the great personality that He is, Krishna is, and who is mahiyase, who is glorified by the selected best verses, I, Srishna Vanamam, I bowed down my head. Now I paid Dandavat pranams. So here the Lord had said, you will no longer see me, but I was merciful to you. I gave you my audience so that you can hanker for me again and become matured in devotional service. And He guarantees Narad Muni, intelligence in devotional service can never be thwarted or broken. And Narad Muni takes a positive twist to this. He regards the Lord as the great personality. Although from his eye vision he had disappeared, but through the sound vibration, Narad Muni discerned the form of the Lord, Nabho Lingam. And he said thank you, and he bowed down before Lord. Srishna Namam Vidade Anukampitaha. Anukampitaha here is translated as being favored by Him. So Prabhupada very nicely translates, feeling a sense of gratitude. So we should have this sense of gratitude towards Prabhupada and devotees who are encouraging us in this way. And Krishna also, who is sitting in our heart as Chaitya Guru, who is directing us on how we can continuously serve Him and do devotional service. Srishna Vanamam Vidadenu Kampitaha. So what now to do? The Lord has stopped speaking. Narad Muni has expressed his gratitude, bowed down, glorified the Lord, and he cannot see the Lord anymore till his next life. Does that mean he should leave devotional service? No. So, when we hear Sambandha Jnana, that means that we are only related to Krishna and we should only be serving Krishna, then we should have firstly a sense of regret that I have ignored him for so long. And then secondly, we should have a sense of longing or hankering. I want to see my Lord. I want to do service unto him. I want to chant his names. And this activity should continue. Now, because the Lord is Navo Lingam, personified by the sound, if we simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, not just a matter of ritual, but as a matter of putting the spirit of our soul into it in terms of longing for the Lord. My Lord, I really want to be with you. I want to serve you. With that, attitude, full of gratitude, we chant the holy names of the Lord. Then very quickly we progress in devotional service. And this is the thing that Narada Muni did. Again, very important verse. This verse should be memorized. Text number 25. Namani anantasya tatra papatan guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran gamparyatam stushtamana spruha kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha. Would anyone like to decide?
Namani anantasya tatra papatan
Namani anantasya hatatra papatan
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran gamparyatam stushtamana spruha
kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha.
Kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha. Very good.
Namani anantasya tatra papatan
Namani anantasya tatra papatan
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran
gamparyatam susta managata spraha
gamparyatam stushtamagata spruha
kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha.
Kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha. Has anyone memorized these words?
Yes.
Yes, not yet. Yeah, you can see.
26.
26, yeah.
Namanyanantasya hatatra papatan
Namanyanantasya hatatra papatan
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran
guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran
gamparyatam stushtamanagata spriha
gamparyatam stushtamanagata spruha
kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha.
Kalam pratiksham vimado vimatsaraha. So please, you haven't memorized, try to memorize this verse. Why this verse is important? Because this is what Narada Muni did after Krishna stopped speaking. He expressed his gratitude to the Lord, bowing his head, feeling a sense of being favored by the Lord, anukampitaha, and then he lived his life like this, and this is how we should live our life. Srila Prabhupada in the first line of the paper says, the life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. So this is a very practical verse. And the 10 things are mentioned here. Let's look at word to word. Namani, the holy name, fame, etc. Anantasya, of the unlimited. Atatrapaha, being freed from all formalities of material world. Pathan, by recitation, repeated reading. See how wonderful Prabhupada's synonyms is. It's by recitation and repeated reading, or repeated recitation and repeated reading of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, the holy names. Guhyani, mysterious. Bhadrani, all benedictory. Kritani, activities. Cha, and. Smaran, constantly remembering. Gam, on the earth. Paryatan, traveling all through. Tushtamana, fully satisfied. Gataspruhaha, completely freed from all material desires. Kalam, time. Pratikshan, awaiting. Vimadaha, without being proud. Vimatsaraha, without being envious. Namani anantasya hatatra papathan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Gamparyatam stushtamana gatasruha. Kalam pratikshan vimada vimatsaraha. So first thing he says, Namani anantasya ata trapapatan. So Namani anantasya, Krishna has unlimited names. And his pastimes are unlimited. And so we have to do patan. Patan means repeated recitation, repeated hearing. Mantra is one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But because it is Krishna, and Krishna is ever youthful and ever fresh, the names of Krishna is also ever fresh. So although we keep reciting it, we can never get tired of it if we are situated in proper consciousness, not afflicted by material death. If material death is there, then chanting of the holy names of the Lord, it becomes an effort. It's like diseased condition. If we are diseased, we cannot enjoy nice food. But when we get better, when flu or influenza is no longer there, then we can taste the food nicely and relish and eat more. So similarly, the proper diet for the conditionally diseased person is chanting of the holy name and having prasadam. But at first, if the material condition is very thick and grounded for so many lives, then that will cause some trouble. But nonetheless, if we keep doing it with confidence, then the disease will subside and the sweetness of the holy names will taste. And how to do this? Hata trapa. Hata trapa, how has Prabhupada translated? Being freed from all formalities of material world. So we should not be shy, or we should not consider any formalities. Material world, if someone wants to be spiritual, they'll be mocked or made fun of. I don't know if Nitya, you told the school, your friends, every Sunday morning, I go for this spiritual session. Are you game enough to tell that? So, I remember when first time I wore dhoti, I was very shy. I was like thinking, everyone must be looking at me, this person is wearing dhoti. And And especially if someone who knows us, our family members, from or friends from school or work, then we become, oh, he's seen me in this attire or clothes. But Srila Prabhupada was told by his god brothers, oh, you're going to America to preach, you buy a suit, tie, trouser, and then go. No one will listen to you if you go to dhoti kurta. Prabhupada said, no, I'm going there not to take their culture, but to give them Vedic culture and give them something worthwhile. I have come here to give them, not to take from them. So this is Hatahatrapa, free from all formalities of the material world. We are not shy about it. No, we can confidently say and speak Bhagavad Gita without being, reserved. So the devotee does not really care about the material formalities. He looks for every opportunity to glorify Krishna, sing his glories, and then pass on the same message. So these two qualities, Namani Anantasya Patan, and how? Hata Tapa, free from all formalities. Devotee inside, devotee outside. Guhyani Bhadrani Kritani Chasmaran. So Guhyani means mysterious, and Bhadrani, all benedictory. Bhadrani means all auspicious also. So chanting of the Krishna's name is mysterious. How it works we don't know, but it works. Narada himself says, at first I used to think it's too simplistic solution. Just chanting Hare Krishna, everything is okay. But yeah, when we do it, it is okay. Everything becomes resolved. How it happens? We don't know. Kuyani. But it is Bhadrani. It is all benedictory. It does happen. And so that's the third quality, the third function. We have to understand this and have the faith while chanting. How Krishna works, we can never know, but he works. Guyani Bhadrani. Kritani Chasmaran. Kritani, activities, cha, and Smaran, constantly remembering. And so activities of Krishna is given in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we should be constantly remembering. How Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya serpent, how he's enacting various pastimes, running away from Mother Yashoda, who's chastising him, how Mother Yashoda is binding him, how Krishna is playing with his friends. So in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada has so wonderfully explained the 10th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, and we can constantly remember the various pastimes of Krishna and the lessons that Krishna imparts through those pastimes. And in this way, Gampariyatams. So Gam on earth, Paryatam, traveling all through. So we have to keep moving, keep traveling through. What does this mean? It means that eventually we have to move, keep moving. If we stay still, if the water stays still, it becomes dirty. So similarly, our life also, consciousness, we cannot remain still in one place and say this is enough. We have to keep moving. There is no such thing as retirement in devotional service. We have to keep going at it till our last breath. Therefore, the devotees will always have a sense of strong purpose in life. People die in an untimely way when they lose a purpose. And the will and the desire to live no longer is there. And it generally happens after the age of 50. And to some people who undergo various mental issues, it happens well before. But for a devotee has a sense of purpose. to chant the holy names of the Krishna, broadcast his message, be always sublime in remembrance. And in that way, he will everywhere go and preach. This applies perfectly to Srila Prabhupada. He traveled every town, village, all over the world to preach this mission of Krishna consciousness. Our Guru Maharaj told me personally, whereas never stick to one place. Always keep traveling and going. And as much as possible, we also, if we try to go everywhere, just the other day we went to, for the first time I went to Cleveland. And it's the township there. Cleveland, I think, is the kind of, you can say, is the capital of the Redland Bay region. And it's a hustling and bustling place. So much opportunity to preach is there. I don't know whether we ever had Harinam there. We can actually do so much, but we restrict ourselves. Why we stick to one place only? We should be moving about always consistently. Gam paryatams. But at the same time, tushtamana gata spruha. Satisfied in mind, tushtamana. We are not hankering for anything material. That's why we are able to do all those things. This is what Narada Muni is saying. This is what he did. He was satisfied in mind. He was only hankering for Krishna, longing for Krishna, but not for anything material. Why was he satisfied in mind? Because gata spruha. Gata spruha is translated as completely freed from all material desires. Narada Muni was completely freed from all material desires. So similarly, we also, if we just say done with material desires, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says in 15th chapter, I think it's the fifth verse, Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama. Very nicely Prabhupada has translated. Nirmana moha, one who is without any desire for fame or honor. Nirmana. Moha, one who is not bewildered or illusion. Jita, sanga dosha, and who is free from false association. Adhyatma nitya, who is always situated in the spiritual realm of what is right, what is wrong. And the last thing, vinivritta kamaha, who is just done with material lust. Prabhupada nicely said, done with material lust. So here, similarly, kataspruha means he had no material desires in his heart, completely free from all material desires. These are the things we should aspire for. And then what? Kalam pratikshan. Kalam, time. Pratikshan, waiting. So it's then waiting for the right time. Waiting for what time?
Right time to go back to Krishna or when?
Yeah. So the devotee knows that yes, he has to leave this body one day. So he awaits that time eagerly. So firstly, he's cognizant that he's cognizant of his mortality. That one day I will have to quit this body. But upon quitting this body, he is very confident of his rightful claim. That because I have done devotional service, Krishna will look after me. Therefore, the devotee does not die, he gains victory over death. And therefore, he can only constantly wait in the background for that time when he has to leave the body. But in the meantime, as you know, in the Ishtagoshti we'll have a good party of chanting holy names of Krishna, doing Bhagavad Gita, having prasadam, having a lot of fun with devotees. Namanyanantasya hatatra papathan Guyani bhadrani kritani chasmaran Gamparyatam stushtamanagataspruha Kalam pratikshan vimada vimatsaraha. So even though the devotee is qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, he is vimada. Vimada means without being proud. Without being proud. Mada means proud. Intoxication of pride. He's not flaunting, oh, I'm qualified to go back, you are not. No, he's very humble. Vimada. And Vimatsara. Vimatsara means without being envy. There is no envy in the devotee. He wants everyone else to go as well. So he'll, like Narada Muni, will be broadcasting this message everywhere. So there are 10 points mentioned in this verse. Please go over these 10 points again and again throughout the week and just see how practically we can mold our lives to live by the standard of these 10 verses, 10 points that Narada Muni mentions in this one verse. And why this is important? Because Prabhupada in the first line of the purport says, the life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. So this is a personal example and a practical example of Narada Muni. So what are these 10 points again quickly? First one.
Holy names and chanting.
Now, say in Sanskrit and explain.
Namani Anantasya.
Yes, so Namani Anantasya, chanting the unlimited holy names of the Lord. Pathan means repeated recitation and repeated reading. The second thing,
Freed from all formalities of the material world.
the Sanskrit word for that?
Hata.
Hatatrapa. Freed from all formalities of the material world. We should not be shy to speaking to our friends about Krishna consciousness. We should be intelligent about it. Don't recklessly say it. But like Narada Muni, he's an expert in making devotees. So somehow or the other, we mold people's consciousness into Krishna consciousness. The third thing, Guhyani Bhadrani. The Lord's, this process is mysterious, Guhyani, but benedictory, it's auspicious. So keeping the faith that, no, I may not know how this works, but it works. And then the fourth thing, Kritani Chasmaran, constantly remembering the pastimes and activities of Krishna. And in this way, doing what? The fifth thing, Gamparyatam, traveling allwhere, everywhere, and preaching the same message and living by the example. There is no better preaching than living the example. We should be the example of this verse. And the sixth thing, Tushtamana, satisfied in mind. Happiness, distress, by own accord they come. And similarly, by their own accord they will go. Similarly, the unhappiness also will go in its own accord. We don't have to try hard to get rid of misery and get happiness. It will just go on. But we should not become affected by it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkeshvanadvigmanaha Sukhesha vigada spruhaha Vitaraga bhaya krodha Sthida pragnastaduchyate. That Dukkeshu anudvigmanaha, that one who does not become too agitated and affected by the misery. Sukheshu vigadaspruha, and who does not become too overwhelmed by happiness. Some people who become too much happy, the very next moment something happens, they go to extreme, become extremely distressed. This, roller coaster of happiness and distress, people are not able to tolerate properly. But if the satisfaction of mind is there, then it's nothing. And that satisfaction actually comes from bhakti, as we see in the Veds. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. When Krishna is satisfied, then we also become satisfied. Gata spruha, this seventh thing. What is that? Completely free from all material desires. We may have desires at the moment, but we can sincerely pray to Krishna, Krishna, I have this desire, but I don't wish to have this desire. You help me. And the eighth thing, kalam pratikshan, awaiting time when we have to leave this body. Meaning, we have to keep our bags packed. How we keep our bags packed? By following these 9 things. That is our package. This 10 quality package. These 10 items we should have in our package. The 9th thing, Vimada. We should not be proud. Krishna even doesn't tolerate the pride of gopis. He disappears from the rasa dance. Krishna makes even Narada Muni humble. Narada Muni was having audience of the Lord. Krishna made him humble by disappearing and then trying earnestly more. If we have a tinge of pride, that's intolerable to Lord. And at the same time, the 10th thing, Vimatsara. We should not have any tinge of envy in our heart against anyone. That becomes disqualification as well. So if this one wish, if we can make this the goal of our life, to live by this one wish, all perfection can be achieved. Let's complete the purport. The life of the sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world, so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by single desire to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and according to the personal capacity, to distribute the message for the others' welfare without motive of material gain. Such a rich purport by Srila Prabhupada. He is just concentrated on the West and explained it so elaborately. Any questions or comments? Time for action.
I had written a note from you, Prabhu, for that verse you gave us, the 10 aspects of life. Live a life with the 10 aspects in your previous.
Yes.
Yeah. And you gave us an example of, for Vimatsaraha, example of mosquito. It sucks blood and it itself dies.
Yes.
So like envious also is the same thing. You are envy, then it will be killing you within yourself. That's what I was just.
Yes. If we think anything bad for others, that bad thing actually we are inflicted by. It's our Guru Maharaj to say like matsar. It's like very close to machar. Actually, that's where it comes from. Matsar. The mosquito sucks the blood and it dies. So similarly, when we are envious against anyone, our own blood we are boiling and we are killing ourselves. Jai Granth Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanande, Jai Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki, Jai Hare Krishna.